especially with this caliber opponent, Bojorquez, taking nothing away from the game man, Bojorquez, but not on the level, not even on in the stratosphere of Whitaker.
Whitaker said that once he gets things going with this fight, he wants to fight only the best. A little miffed as to why Trinidad never offered him a rematch. Had a lot of respect for Trinidad. De La Hoya, same thing. He said, never offered me a rematch. They know where I am. They have my phone number.
This fight is not so much up to Bojorquez. It's up to Whitaker. What Whitaker has left at 37 years of age, after 44 fights, and after a 2-year layoff. Whitaker's in there with an opponent who's much slower, not hard to hit, just a game guy. Those guys did not used to be able to hang out in the ring with Pernell. We will see. Give Pernell time, though. Just started. He's been off 2 years. He wants to get into the flow, get into the rhythm. One thing I've noticed about Pernell, I talked to him about it yesterday, Bob. And since the last few years when he hasn't been, maybe arguably not the prime Whitaker, although he has been in there with top guys, let's not forget that. The guys he's lost to have been the best fighters in boxing. Guys like De La Hoya, which a lot of people could argue that he didn't lose that fight.
You know, when you look at his record, he had the draw against Chavez, in which you could say he was robbed. He had the loss to Ramirez in '88, which he was robbed. Really, you can really make, because he's only lost once, and that was to Trinidad.
No doubt about it. But the last couple of years, I've noticed a change, and I talked to him about that yesterday. I noticed that when people have been talking that he's not the same Whitaker, I noticed that he's changed his style, and you see it now. He's become more aggressive. That's not the Pernell Whitaker that was one of the greatest lightweight champions of all time, and one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent fighter of the last 15 years. That Whitaker was a counterpuncher, a real good boxer, a defensive whiz like Ozzie Smith from the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, he was defense all the way. He would make you come in, make you miss, he would counter. Now he presses more. And I think he does that to try to justify to the people that he's still good. And they should still watch.
You remember the name Bojorquez if you're a weekly loyalist of Friday Night Fights. We saw him a couple of times against Blaze Suarez in Las Vegas. Had a second-round stoppage and a 4-round decision. You take a look at the numbers. 10 power shots connected by Whitaker.
What I was touching on in the last round, Bob, is Whitaker. We know that he's one of the great lightweights of all time, but he wasn't just that. He was one of the most consistent fighters of all time. 15 years fighting the top and beating the top. But as I said the last round, when he did that, he was a counterpuncher. He would walk guys into all kinds of traps. He'd make you miss and make you pay. His defense was as much his game as anything else. Last couple years, when people have been saying that he's not as good as he used to be, I noticed he's pressing more. Look, he's the one coming forward, and that has not been his forte. That was not his great talent. I talked to him about it yesterday. I said, why are you doing that, Sweet Pea? Are you doing that partly because people, you have ears, you listen, you hear people saying it's not the same Whitaker, he's not as good as missed a step, he's missed an inch on his fastball like they say about baseball players. Are you doing it to liven it up, to show people that, hey, you can do it a different way, to show people there's still a reason to watch you? He said, yeah, I'm doing it for that, and I'm also showing I can make an adjustment. Do it a different way.
And, you know, he would break out that power game when he desperately needed it, like Hurtado when he was down in that fight on the scorecards. He had been dropped twice in that bout and took him out in the 11th round. He desperately needed his power.
The only thing to be on the level Pernell wants to be on, the thing that he has always made him great is not the pressing forward. It's been the counterpunching style. By him adopting this style, he's kind of saying that maybe my reflexes have slowed just a little bit, and I got to do it a different way. I think he hurt his left shoulder.
Yep, he grabbed his left shoulder.
You know, Pernell Whitaker, as great as he's been on the floor several times in his career. He's always gotten off the floor and won, except for that one time against Trinidad.
We're going to have to eavesdrop on his corner in between these rounds to find out, as he grabbed his left shoulder here in this last minute of the second round, what Whitaker's feeling.
All right, ring out, go back.
Hey, when you're 37 years old and you're coming back off a 2-year layoff, sometimes things start to hurt a little bit more. That left shoulder there, after he threw that left hand of Pernell Whitaker, bothered him. We'll have to see whether or not that becomes a factor as the fight goes on.
Joe Cortez, the referee, went over to Whitaker's corner, asked him if he was okay. He had the doctor look at it. Pernell said it was okay, but he kept kind of twisting it. I don't know if he pulled something or if something caught, but it looked like he was trying to loosen it up. He did throw a couple of lefts after that.
You know, as much as Pernell's known as one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time, he's a warrior. He don't become champion as many times as Pernell Whitaker, a 4-time world champion in different weight classes, by being only talented. You have that special desire inside you. But again, I think one of the questions here, Bob, people at the age of 37, Pernell being inactive, coming back, is whether or not he can be as good defensively as he used to be, with his reflexes being older, being more used. And being that he's adapting a style where he's going to press more, there's more chances of him getting hit more.
Teddy, and he threw one uncomfortable left hand early in this round, and he hasn't thrown one since. 30 jabs, according to Joe Carnicel, and he gets tabbed.
Because he went straight back.
And then Tommy Brooks, his trainer, told him, you can't go straight back.
Not from close. If you're going to go back from a distance where your opponent is not in range. Then you have a chance to go back and set up for a counter before your opponent can come in. But if you go back from too close, your opponent can step with you and catch you on the way out.
Still only one left hand thrown by Whitaker so far here in this third round. Remember, he threw it in the second round, grabbed his left shoulder in pain, said he was okay. But he's only thrown it once, and it was an awkward one early in this round. There's another one, his second, but nothing on it.
And that left hand was the hand that pulled him out of the fire in '97 when he was behind on points against Hurtado going into the 11th round, and he knocked Hurtado out with all left hands. Hopefully, for Pernell's sake, he will not need the left hand in that kind of dire situation.
2 left hands thrown by Whitaker so far in this third round. They're going to keep it here and take it to Whitaker's corner.
Again, Court going straight back. You know, again, standing right in front with his hands down, going back. Court with the right hand of the game for Bojorquez. You know, a point should be made right here. He's getting Court going back because he has a different style now. He goes forward and then he goes back. In the old days, he wouldn't have got Court going back.
And he throws just his third left hand of the round.
All the reason you getting caught is because you're still pulling straight back.
Pernell, how's your shoulder?
You can't pull straight back, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Shoulder.
You got to pull to the side. You got to pull to after you short enough stuff, you can't step back. Step to the side. Either side. It don't matter.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
your shoulder okay for that?
Do you want to continue with
All right.
either side? You got to step.
Come on, leave us alone, will you, please?
Hey, listen.
I got to tell you.
God damn it, leave us alone, for Christ's sake. Let him get over there. He's all right.
Hey, listen. You can't pull straight back. That's where
But the last round, the first round, I gave to Bojorquez.
I give him Bojorquez the last 2 rounds, Teddy. Whitaker gets caught again, and there's the shoulder. And that's what happens when you're 37.
Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go.
No,
And you're coming off a 2-year layoff.
that's it. But unfortunately, Teddy, as he keeps grabbing his shoulder, the shoulder blade, these are the kind of things that happen, though, to older fighters. Injuries start getting in the way, and they become built-in excuses.
This fight's going to be stopped.
It is stopped. Whitaker can't go on.